What's going on, everybody? Brian Parker with Empower TV Network. Host a head to head as seen every Thursday live, 7 p.m. on streaming platforms such as Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV, X, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, as well as YouTube. Check us out. Again, head to head with Brian Parker, Thursdays at 7 p.m. So y'all have been doing these hot takes now, and I did one just the other day about misbranding by the right. Now I was going to break it down into three different parts, and then good old Nikki Haley just would not let me focus on that and came out with some serious bullshit, and that's all you can really call it. She was asked a question by Brian Kilmeade the other day, and we'll play the clip in just a second, where she was asked, is her party racist? Is she part of a racist party? And this is how she chose to answer the question.
You a racist party? Are you involved in a racist?
We're not a racist country, Brian. We've never been a racist country. Our goal is to make sure that today is better than yesterday. Are we perfect? No. I know I faced racism when I was growing up, but I can tell you today is a lot better than it was then.
So, a couple of things. He asked specifically, is her party racist? Is she part of a racist party, i.e. the Republican Party? He did not ask her, is the country racist? Those are two totally different questions. This is what I was talking about rebranding and misdirection and redirection. Nikki Haley, and as I also said in the previous hot take, when this is the same person that 2 weeks ago was asked a direct question and a easy question about what was the cause of the Civil War. And she went on and on and on, word saladed for a while and never mentioned the word slavery. And it's unbelievable that somebody that botched the slavery question, not once, but at least twice, because then she tried to make it better, talking about the fact she had black friends, which had nothing to do with whether Civil War and slavery had anything to do with each other, but whatever. She botched it again. So then she gets asked a softball question about this, was her party racist? The right answer, well, the answer that she should have given should have been more along the lines of, Brian, it's been said that our party does not always connect well with people of color. And as president, I would like to change that narrative. I don't believe that the majority of my party is racist, but I will admit that we have had a very hard time connecting with people of color. And that's just statistically true. If you look at all of the elections, you look at all the polls and everything else, most people of color affiliate with Democrats, even though it's not that tightly situated that way. It doesn't mean that people of color are a monolith and they just totally pull for what it is that Democrats are selling. But it is historically true that people of color normally do support the Democratic Party because of the inclusion. Even Kevin McCarthy said that if you look at his party, it looks like a restrictive country club. If you look at the Democratic Party, he's talking about members of Congress, that they look like more representative of what America looks like. There's something to be said for that. They do look more like a party of inclusion. Are there racists in both parties? Absolutely. Absolutely. Would I say that just because somebody's a Republican, they're inherently racist? No. But I do believe that most racists are Republicans. Both things can be true without saying an entire party is racist. But look at the policies of that party. About you hear Republicans strictly against diversity, equity, and inclusion. These are things about acceptance of all kinds of people, not just people that look like you, particularly people that don't look like you. That's what DEI is all about. And we'll talk about that too. So your policies. Now, are there left-wing people that probably don't necessarily care for the diversity? Probably so. Is it more prevalent in the Republican Party? 100%. Absolutely. You can fight me on that all day, every day. I don't care. It's not true. So when she was asked that question, she could have used it to do that. But what she did was she went the route of Tim Scott and a lot of these other Republicans that want to rewash and whitewash history. Is America, since she wanted to answer the question that wasn't asked, let's also address that. Is America racist? Yeah, it is. The reason that people don't want to say that is it doesn't sound good to say. It's not. Furthermore, if you want to parse it and say, well, is it as racist as it used to be? Depends on who you ask. If I'm white, no, because I've never had to experience racism. But to say the country has never been racist after over 240 years of slavery, how do you say that with a straight face? After the rise of the Ku Klux Klan, how do you say that with a straight face? Really? After massacres, Tulsa, lynchings, segregation, Jim Crow, redlining, how do you say that with a straight face? We've never been racist? Really? This is what annoys me is all of these attempts to take away historical things because they're uncomfortable to talk about. And it's and what makes it even funnier is Monday past was Martin Luther King's birthday. People out on their jobs, don't have to go into work, all kinds of things. White folks think that it's okay to sit there and start quoting quotes from Martin Luther King, and Republicans just think it's a great idea. And the crazy thing is, these same Republicans that quote Martin Luther King would spit in his face today because the things that he was fighting for, fair pay, equality, diversity, you got people now fighting for those things and they're being called radicals and Marxist and communist and socialist and all these other things. Martin Luther King was a radical. He wanted equality. He wanted inclusion. When he started talking about, and they love quoting the whole thing about, being judged by the content of your character, not the color of your skin. That's from an inclusion standpoint. What he was saying was, I don't want you to look at me as my color. I want you to look at me as somebody that has God-given inalienable rights, just like you. Now, when Republicans talk about, I don't see color, that's bullshit. Trust it. I don't see color. You do see color. We all see color. We always will see color. When I go to buy a car, I'm buying a car because it may be a particular color. I see color. But it doesn't mean that because I see the color, it has to prejudice the way that I think and the way that I see you. If I see a white person, I'm not going to say, well, I don't see the fact that you're white. I mean, damn, open your eyes. Of course you're going to see that they're white. But their whiteness, their blackness, their whatever color, whatever background, if they have a hijab on, whatever, should not affect the way that I interpret this person's character. That's what he meant by that. Not that I'm walking around colorblind, I don't see color. Well, you better take that blindfold off because you're going to run into something. And Nikki Haley walks this tightrope because, again, she walks with this whole idea of, I don't want to offend people that I feel like I'm going to need politically to advance my career. You could have walked the tightrope, Nikki. You could have just done it in a more honest way to say, hey, listen, my party historically has had a hard time connecting with people of color. That's true. That's just categorically true. How many U.S. senators are black other than Tim Scott that are Republican? Any Muslims? Now, do you have some that are not white? Of course, you've got Marco Rubio is being one of those. But the diversity just isn't there. When you look at Congress, 435 members. You look at the Republican side, I believe they have 218 to 220 members. How many of them are African American? How many of them are Asian American? How many of them are anything other than white? And then you look at the Democratic side, the diversity is obvious. It is. It doesn't mean that the Democratic Party is where it needs to be from a diversity standpoint. But when you look at one party that embraces and one party that seemingly pushes it away, it couldn't be clearer. Nikki just needs to be more honest with that. Number one, listen to the damn question. He didn't ask you if America is racist. But if you want to go down that route, I mean, this is the same person that in the same damn clip said that America is not a racist country, yet I've experienced racism. How? You just said America wasn't racist. How'd you experience it if it didn't exist? Now, if you're trying to say, and then some people are going to parse this, if somebody says America is a racist country, well, Brian, are you saying that everybody in America is racist? No, that would be stupid. You can't say that unequivocally everybody's racist. That's not what that means. But was this country built on racism? Wasn't this country built on slavery? That's not racism. Weren't Native Americans chased off of their land? That wasn't racist. Wasn't Reconstruction racist? Wasn't Jim Crow racist? Weren't lynchings, the rise of the Ku Klux Klan racist? Isn't redlining racist? All this was racist because there was a racial problem. Did it make the entire everyone in the country racist? No. Did it mean that the country struggled with racism? Yes. But nobody wants to talk about that. And until you get to a point where you can actually address what's really happening, you can't move on. Everybody always wants to move on. When something's bad, I just want to move on. I just want to move on. That's fine. Move on. But don't act like this shit didn't happen. You can move forward. But it doesn't mean that this horrible thing that you don't want to be attached to didn't happen. Guys, admitting that America isn't perfect and that it has a history that of some really effed up things does not mean that you're not a patriot. It doesn't mean that you're not patriotic. It just means that we always have the ability to be better and do better. Not being able to admit that only shows the insecurities and the future failures that lie in store for us. Y'all keep that in mind. History is only there to show you what to do and what not to do, who you were and who you can be. It's not for you to feel guilty or anything about. It's to learn from your history Don't run away from it. Embrace your history because it does make you who you are today, the good and the bad. But don't run from it. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't sit there and gaslight us, Nikki Haley, into saying that America's never been racist. Come on. Really? We had Japanese internment camps, for God's sakes. Really? Donald Trump wanted a Muslim ban just because of people's religion and color. Really? We've never, and I don't know if you know, but every time I saw him bringing that stuff up at a rally, there was a whole bunch of people hooting and hollering. There are people that want to put a wall up at the southern border, not because they're afraid that people are going to take our jobs, but because they're brown. Now, will they say that? Will they admit that? No. But let's be clear. They're brown. Well, y'all, I'm going to let it go. Thanks for tuning in. Check us out every Thursday, 7 p.m. live, head to head with Brian Parker. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, share it with friends, and come on in. Hope y'all have a great day. We'll talk again soon.